blogging isn't just about sharing your thoughts. It's about showing people that you are the expert that they have been looking for. And speaking of search, every blog post is a new opportunity to bring in new traffic to your site through search. That's why this video is all about showing off your expertise. It's not about just showing off your expertise to your current website visitors. It's about bringing in new traffic through search and through your blogs in order to allow you to build your authority through blogging. So in this video, I'm breaking it down into 3 steps to help you get started blogging and showing off your expertise. Step 1 is to pick topics that provide value. Step 2, we're going to get into the SEO of everything. And step 3, we're going to plan for consistency. This video is actually part 5 of my 7 Days to Website Success series, where I'm breaking down actionable strategies to help you turn your website into a powerful tool for your brand and business. And along with this series, I have a pretty in-depth workbook here to help you take action on these things that I'm going to be sharing with you. So go download that at katherineforbes.com/7days. And we're going to get right into it with picking topics that provide value. I have a few questions outlined here for you to brainstorm on what you might start blogging about. When you answer these questions, I don't want you to just answer them as you as a person in general. I want you to answer them as they relate to your brand or business or what your website is even all about. If you start blogging on something that's not related to your business and you're attracting those people to your website, they're not going to be great qualified leads for what you are trying to sell or promote. So we need to make sure that your topics, first and foremost, are related to your products and services. So once you have that in mind, I want you to answer these questions. First, what do people always ask you about? Second, what problems can you solve for others? Third, what do you just love to talk about? And fourth, what transformation or transformations do you help people achieve? So brainstorm on those, write your answers out. Don't filter yourself, just write down whatever comes to mind. And then after you're done, take a bigger picture glance at all of your answers, and I want you to come up with your first couple blog post ideas. And like I said in the very beginning, remember, your blog isn't just about sharing. It's about solving problems for others. The more value you provide, the more trust that you build, the longer people will stay on your websites. These are all things that we want. So in terms of content, think of things like step-by-step guides, tutorials, behind-the-scenes insights, your expert tips or recommendations, or if you have a product that you sell, show the behind the scenes of making your product or service or what it means to you, to bring people into your story and make them care and want to be part of what you have to offer. While we're on the topic of picking topics, I'll share that one of my blog posts, the blog post that's performed best on my blog for years now, sometimes it even gets more hits than my homepage. Right now, for the past month or so, it's sitting at the 3rd most visited page on my site. It's a blog post that I wrote maybe 8 years ago at this point, and I don't even know if today I would consider it a true blog post. It's really just a checklist. It's Instagram, I think it's called 16 Instagram Ideas for Musicians, and it's literally just a list of 16 single line items. And so the thing here is, when you're coming up with these topics, I want you to be, like I said, very specific to what you have to offer. So it's bringing in the right people, but I also want you to be very specific because you have to think about the competition online. If you are just going to target Instagram ideas, there's so many people searching for Instagram ideas and everybody has a different niche that they're targeting. So the way that I targeted Instagram ideas for musicians, it is bringing in the very select people that are in my target audience of musicians, and it's bringing them to my site. They get to know who I am, and then they can follow along, watch my videos, follow my Instagram. I wouldn't say that this is a blog post that I would put out today, but I've left it up on my site because it does bring people into my website, and I don't offer social media services, and so it's really not the most ideal post on my blog to be bringing in this traffic. So that's why I give you this advice to learn from my mistakes, that yes, musicians are a target audience of mine, but social media is not something that I offer for people. So people keep coming to me like, can you do my social media for me? And the answer is no. So again, pick stuff to talk about that is related to what you have to offer. Really niche down, make sure you're bringing the right people in through the topics that you're choosing. Step 2, we're going to talk all about SEO for your blog posts. Now, your blog can't work for you if nobody can see it, and the way people see it is by getting it out in the search engines. And to do that, I have some best practices for you, which, while maybe my blog post I just mentioned doesn't follow these, it had a really strong keyword, and that is really where we want to start with your SEO as well. So when you think about your blog topic, think about it in terms of what are people searching for online. If you wanted the answer that you are providing in this blog post, what would you go to Google and type in? That is the keyword phrase that we really want to focus on for your blog post. And you're going to want to use that in your title and in your blog post, which here in the worksheet, again, I'm just referencing this worksheet as I go through this video. I have a checklist here for you of the SEO items that you want to make sure you include, and your keyword placement in your title and your blog is check mark number 1 here on this list. The next thing that you'll want to do in your blog post to really optimize it for search is to include both internal and external links. So if in your blog post you mention maybe another blog post that you've written or the service that you offer, you want to link to those pages on your website in your blog post. That way, not only can people find their way around your website, but the search engines can also see how your blog post is related to the other content on your website. And when you link to other websites, that just helps build, let's call it like a web of links across the internet to help you build authority by saying, hey, I'm talking about this brand, and this brand already has some authority, so send me back some my way. The more you can do external links and backlinks from and to your site, the better for search. Next up on our checklist is to give your images alt tags. And when I say that, again, I've created an SEO video earlier in this series, which seems to be the most popular so far. So if you haven't watched that, make sure to go do that. But alt tags for your images help your images appear in search just the way that you want your blog post to appear. So if you upload an image to your blog post and the file name is, let's say, img1234, Google has no idea what that picture is or what it's all about. So make sure you change your file name, and then when you upload it, even if it says optional, make sure you give it an alt tag and describe what the image is about so that search engines can read your blog posts and images. Next up, you really want to focus on search intent when you're writing your blog posts. So I mentioned a minute ago, like, what are people searching for when they are coming to find this blog post that you've written? Search intent is becoming very, very important these days as AI is getting smarter and smarter. Blog posts that are just long to cram in all these keywords and need all these best practices, people don't want to read that anymore. They want to search their question and find their answer. So that is what we call search intent. If you can answer their search intent in your blog post, then you are more likely to get served up in search engines. That leads me to my last point here, which is your word count. Now, yes, quality is better than quantity these days, but if you are someone who wants to just have a word count to aim for, I would say aim for the 700 to 2,000 word range. Okay, now last but not least, step 3 is to plan for consistency. You don't have to blog every day or every week, but even once a month can do wonders for your website over time. If I'm looking at a website and I go to their blog and I see that they haven't posted in a year or 2 years or sometimes even more, to me that says, well, maybe you aren't the go-to expert here. This is really outdated. You're not keeping up with your stuff, so next. So plan for consistency. I mean, I actually hide the dates from my blog posts because they are not date specific. My tutorial is not going to change over time unless the platform changes, but my tutorial is going to be relevant today as it was 2 years ago. So either really consider your dates and make sure you're staying up to date with your posting, or just simply hide your dates altogether so you don't run into that problem. And then here in the workbook, you'll see I have a little chart for you here to fill out to plan out your first 5 blog posts, or if you're already blogging, your next 5 blog posts. I've got a column for your date, your title, and your topic of your blog posts. And then you can put a little check mark here if it's a draft, and then a check mark here once it is published. I always come up with the list here, and I do great about coming up with my topic ideas. I write the first one, maybe the second one, and then it's a struggle to keep going. So maybe my advice to you and to myself would be to not only come up with the ideas, but sit down and save a chunk of time to come up with 3 blog posts. Write them all out and schedule them on your blog and get that momentum going so you don't have to sit down every week write that blog post or record the video. Batch create your blog content. It will make it much easier. I know it's also much easier said than done because we are all very busy people these days, but definitely plan for consistency. Put some accountability in place if you need that. That's been helping me a lot this year. But none of the work that you did to come up with those blog post ideas or put the SEO elements in place is going to matter if you don't actually publish on your blog. One last little piece of motivation for you here to really stay consistent with your blogging is that search engines really like to see that you are consistently updating your website, and adding a new blog post consistently is a great way to send that signal out to the search engines. Okay, if you are already at the end of this video and you haven't downloaded this workbook yet, you can go to katherineforbes.com/7days. It includes the worksheet not only for this video, but for all of the videos in this series. Speaking of, next up in the next video, I'm going to be talking all about how to create a really strong about page and use some storytelling techniques to create a strong about page, because now that you're blogging and you're bringing in new traffic to your site, you need those new people who don't know you yet to then click over to your about page, get to know you, and start working or buying from you as soon as possible, right? So don't miss that one. I will link up the playlist right here for you to check out that next video and all the other videos in the series if you need to catch up. So I will see you in the next one.